What's going on, everybody? It's Cooper and James, and we are from the back pens. First weekend of the PBR Finals is done. James, I know you're excited about it. I got to watch a decent amount of it. We buck 18 bulls on my end, so I see most of the other rides, but I don't really see what goes down in our end, but I've seen some videos and whatnot. James, how have you enjoyed watching the first 3 rounds of the finals so far?
I love it. It's the pinnacle of our sport. It's what guys like me and you thrive on, or what I thrive on, is waiting to see who's going to step up and be that surprise. And so far there has been, and so far there hasn't been.
Yeah, there's been some interesting performances, in my opinion, no doubt about it. And I think it's been a good final so far, and I think it's only going to get better next weekend. But we'll quit messing around. Grab them slides, boys, because we're coming at you from the back pins. To kick things off, let's talk about who's done well through the first 3 rounds. The guy sitting at the top of the pack right now is Cody Jesus, 268 and a quarter on 3 head. He's earned 105 world points so far. James, I think you'd probably agree with me. This isn't a guy, if you'd asked me last week going into the finals, that I would have told you had a strong chance of sitting at the top, would you?
No, sir. Nothing against Cody Jesus, but he's usually one directional, and he's fixed some things, and he's on fire right now, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, he's riding really, really good. He's drawn bulls that have fit him for the most part, and he's definitely capitalized on it. So it's good to see Cody finding some success down here in Fort Worth. That would be a big win for his career if he can pull off this World Finals title. Sitting in second for the event, Joao Ricardo Vieira, 264 on 3 head. He's earned 89 world points. He's right in the thick of one of the best title races we've seen in a while, and he hasn't faltered yet. He's perfect, 3 for 3 on the weekend. He's looked really good so far, and like Cody, he's gotten on bulls that have fit him for the most part.
And I believe the last one he got on in round 3 even went to the right. So that just shows you how bad that he wants this world title. He's literally 5 bulls away from it. But 5 bulls is a long way to go yet. But it's just awesome to see the old guy step up like that. My heart's rooting for him, and everybody really at this point, because they put in such a long season. And it's so amazing to see the guys step up that we haven't expected, like the Cody Jesus's and a few others and things like that.
Sitting in third, Jose Vitor Leme, 262 on 3 head. Jose's earned 67 in a third world points. Jose's actually lost some ground in the world title race on paper, but with how he's sitting in the aggregate, he can get a bunch of points on the back end of this deal. He's perfect so far, and there's only 3 guys that are. He's looked really good. In my opinion, he looks like he's there to win a gold buckle.
Absolutely. And I should have never doubted the man in any way, shape, or form, and nor will I ever do it again. But, I mean, it's good to see him get to going. His confidence is through the roof. You can just feel it oozing off of him whenever he does the interviews and things along those lines. And he's fired up. He wants 3 in a row. He's all about making history. Well, if he wins this World Finals and the world title, he'll tie Robson Palermo for the most World Finals wins, and also be the only man to ever win 3 back-to-back-to-back world titles.
Yeah, that's never been done. There's a couple 3-time world champions, but they did not do it consecutively. If he pulls that off, it's going to be pretty hard, in my opinion, to not say he's the greatest of all time. He's got a lot of bulls ahead of him yet before that's decided, but he's on the right track. He's got the train moving in the right direction, and I don't expect him to slow down this week. In 4th place, Dalen Swearingen, 182.5 on 2 head. Dalen's earned 97 world points throughout the finals. He's sitting in the number 1 spot, but it is a razor-tight margin up there at the top. Dalen's been really, really solid so far. He did come down off 1, and in the rank pen, he had picked a different bull. He really didn't have that high of a pick coming into round 2. He picked Arkansas from the Page family, and I'm not quite sure the details, but they pulled a bull from the draw on Friday morning. And his replacement bull happens to be Big Black. And I don't think he could have picked a better one out of the whole PBR to get on in that scenario. And he put it on him, made a really good bull ride, and went to slinging his spurs around. Dalen's here to fight for it. I think Dalen's got as good a shot as anybody. What do you think, James?
I do. I think he has as good a shot as anybody, especially with his rider over bull score. And that's where I think that going back to Jose Vitor Lima, also that's going to play a huge factor in whether he wins a world title, is rider over bull score. Both of those guys just dominate whenever they're comfortable. And Big Black, in my opinion, had one of the better days I've seen him have in maybe a year or two. Also, on top of that,
rounding out the top 5, Luciano De Castro, 181.5 on 2 head. Luciano's earned 126 world points. He's moved up a couple spots since the finals started. He's had a pretty solid start, and he's not out of this world title race either, depending on how the rest of this shakes out. There's a lot of points up for grabs yet. There's a lot of bulls to get on. It's anybody's ball game right now. And if you've got 2 bulls rode and you're in that race, there's no reason why you shouldn't feel like you have a legitimate chance to walk away as the world champion. And another guy I want to talk about, just because me and James have kind of viewed him as an under the radar contestant at this world finals, is sitting in 6th place is Josh Frost. He's also got 181.5 on 2 head. He's earned 77 world points. Are you surprised to see the success that Josh Frost has been having early this week?
No, I am surprised to see that much confidence, because typically, with pro rodeos, they got maybe 5 minutes total all week to do an interview, and they just have more TV time, I guess is what I'm trying to get at with the PBR. It's a good thing for him to see that confidence. Did I really think he was going to go in there after riding one in round 1 and draft riding solo? No. Would I give him a chance? 60-40 bull going into it, and he just sat up there and rode him like he was just a practice bull, which obviously we both know he wasn't. But that's the one thing about Josh Frost that stands out to me so far throughout this first 3 rounds of the finals.
Yeah, he's looked really confident. He looks like he's been here 10 times, and he has ridden at the NFR quite a few times. Big stages are nothing new to this guy. He's a solid contender to walk away as the World Finals event winner. If a guy is confident enough to go up there and pick a bull like that in a draft round, he's obviously feeling himself, and I don't expect him to slow down. But let's transition to the world standings here. Sitting at the top is Dalen Swearingen. He's got about a 17-point lead over JRV, who's sitting in the 2nd spot. Kaique Pacheco is in 3rd. He's 107.5 points behind Dalen. In 4th, Luciano De Castro. He's 262.5 points behind Dalen. And rounding out the top 5, Jose Vitor Lima sitting in 5th. He's about 290 and 2/3 points behind Dalen. So there's still a lot of guys with a pretty strong shot at this deal, in my opinion. It's still pretty tight, and 270 points is not that much at the World Finals to make up. James, if you had to pick right now a guy to walk away on Sunday from the Dickies Arena as the 2022 PBR World Champion, who are you taking?
Flip a coin at this point. Twist my arm and make me pick one. It's so hard to pick between those 5 guys you mentioned, just because they've been there and done that. JRV, he doesn't have a gold buckle, but he's been as close as anybody ever has been. So in some ways, my heart's hoping that he does, just because I know we don't have that many years left in the tank. Father Time's going to catch up eventually, but if I had to pick one guy, I would have to steal your pick and go with Lime. I didn't know how healthy he was coming into the finals. He looks as healthy as he ever has, and he's been 90 once already this week. He's just going to have to draft like he wants to be over 90 and win the go rounds.
Yeah, he's a real threat right now, no doubt about it. The way he's riding and the way he's been dominating most of the bulls he's gotten on, he's a serious threat going forward for the rest of the finals, no doubt about it. If I had to pick one, I'm still going with Jose, just because I still have confidence in that pick. But one thing I want to bring up, James, how concerned are you about Kaique Pacheco's foot injury? Are you concerned at all, or are you not worried about it?
I'm not worried. I'm about as worried about it as he is. he's so focused on riding bulls and winning another world title that he'll worry about that foot when the finals is over. The only thing I'm worried about as far as that goes is how long is he going to have to set out as far as the draft and the team situation. But we're a long ways from that. We still got 5 go-rounds left to go. That ain't going to bother him. They don't call him the Iceman just for fun.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine. I don't think it's that serious of a break from the way it sounds. So I'm not concerned about it either. I just wanted to get your take on it. The Rookie of the Year race is still wide open. It's kind of a 3-horse race, though, between Bob Mitchell, Clayton Sellers, and Josh Frost. And it's really just going to come down to who rides the best the next four days in Fort Worth, really. It's pretty wide open with the amount of points there are available. It's anybody's ball game in that department. But let's talk about the Bull of the Year race, because there was some changes in this race, James. What did you think of Whoopah's out on Saturday night?
To be honest, the worst trip I ever seen that bull have. And most stock contractors are looking for a bull to have a trip somewhere close to that. That's not even an average day for Whoopah. So my question is what's the crew going to do to get him whatever he needs? Did you notice anything? Did you handle him as far as, did he seem like he might be sore somewhere or anything like that might have just been out of the ordinary to you? Because I know you've been around him and you've handled him. And did you see that out personally where you could watch that, or how did that go down from your perspective?
He looked normal to me. I think it was just him wanting to do too much right away. And if you watch the whole out, he was going to be really good. It just took him a while to find his spot. But when he did find that spot, it was all the intensity and in action you could ask for out of one. I just think it was one of those weird off days. From what I've read, they get to drop their lowest score for these bulls that go 3 times. So he's going to have 2 pretty good outs the rest of the week to make up for that bad out. Riding Solo did overtake the lead. He's got a 46.11 average. Whoopah is sitting at 45.86 in second. Pookie Holler, 45.68 in third. Moonlight Party, 45.64 in fourth. And Blue Duck, 45.57 in fifth. Who do you think walks away with this race, James? After seeing what you saw with Whoopah, what bull are you going to go with to finish out the second half of the finals?
Stay on the Whoopah bandwagon. My heart still wants Riding Solo to win it, but until he gets 2 clean outs, Whoopah's just got it. And so does Riding Solo as far as that goes. I wouldn't care if they tied and just let them both be a world champion for the first time ever, but that's not going to happen. Hats off to both these stock contractors for working so hard to get these bulls in the shape that they're in and doing what they need to do to put them at their highest level. And hats off to all the stock contractors for just even qualifying for the PBR finals, because that's a huge thing in itself.
Yeah, that's quite the accomplishment for any stock contractor to get even one bull at the World Finals. That's a pretty big deal, no doubt about it. If I had to pick just to be opposite of you, I'm going to go Riding Solo. I think he's going to get out just fine. And as long as he gets the right guys on him, he's been really pretty showy. He's a showy bull. I think he's got a good chance as long as the right guys get on him to keep up what he's doing. And with Whoopah having to make up ground, he doesn't have any room for error anymore. It's got to be perfect for the next 2 outs if he wants to keep his name in this race, for sure. But on an interesting side note, at the Fan Expo on Sunday, Julio actually hauled Bushwhacker down to the Fan Expo, and people got to see him, take pictures with him, do all that. And at one time, they had set out 2 feed pails, one with Riding Solo on it, one with Whoopah on it, and Bushwhacker picked Riding Solo. So if he's good enough for Bushwhacker, he's good enough for me. That's how I'm going to look at it, James.
Yeah, that's definitely the greatest bull of our generation.
He looks pretty dang good for how old he is, too. I believe he's 17 years old, and he looks very good. He's really healthy looking, which is good for a bull that age. That's not young for a bull at all. So really cool to see Bushwhacker. And I had seen him once before in LA. That was a while back, and I didn't really get to take a good look at him. And yeah, I was impressed with how well Julio's taken care of that bull and kept him as healthy as he is. But I think let's transition to the Rank Ride fantasy portion of this podcast.
Rank Ride Fantasy Bull Riding is free to play in 2022. Make your picks for PBR riders and bulls and get in on the action. The year-end champion will receive a VIP trip for two to PBR World Finals in Fort Worth, Texas, and a custom Rank Ride Bragging Rights buckle. Follow Rank Ride Facebook and keep up with great giveaways on the Rank Ride Fantasy Instagram page. Rank Ride Fantasy, your connection to the Western lifestyle you love. Sign up to play free at rankridefantasy.com.
We're going to keep it shorter today just because there's only so much to talk about middle of the event like this. But you can find more about Rank Ride Fantasy at www.rankridefantasy.com. You can find them on Instagram at Rank Ride Fantasy, at Rank Ride on TikTok and Facebook, and Rank Ride TV on YouTube. James, who did you end up using on your team, your personal team in Rank Ride Fantasy for the finals? Because I was sitting pretty good, but I thought I had a different guy picked than I did, and I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Yeah, me either. But I don't think really anybody's too spectacular out of there. Clayton Sellers just not performing up to the level that I thought he would. Bob Mitchell's another one that's just, I think Bob Mitchell is just too excited to be there. He needs to just calm down. It's not just another bull riding, but he has to treat it that way. He got on safety meeting and overrode him. I think that was in the first round when they gave 20 re-rides or some ridiculous number like that. But the bull power's there. The guys are riding phenomenal. I think the one thing that surprised me is Kaiki's not 3 for 3, but exactly what happened happened. What I said would happen. I said he'd ride anything with hair on it as long as he kept that C out of his back. He got that C in his back, got the weight off his legs, and there's not much you can do after that, regardless if you're Kaiki Pacheco or Superman. We got him, we got Lima, we got Josh Frost, we got Clayton Sellers, and we got Matt Triplett. And I think my sixth pick was Claudio Montagna Jr. What did you have?
I don't remember my whole team, but I know I got Jose Kaike and Josh Frost. And so I was feeling pretty good earlier this week. And then I thought I had a different guy in tier 3 that was doing pretty good. And something happened where either it got changed or I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I think there's going to be some people that are going to have some really high totals because if you pick some of these lower tier guys, some of those guys really stepped up and had a good first half of the finals. Like Zeke's 2 for 3. He was a lower tiered guy. I mean, there was some hidden gems there if you pick the right guys, no doubt about it. But there's a lot of bull riding left. It's going to be really exciting to see how all of it shakes out, not only on the rank ride side, but in the PBR side as well. Like James mentioned earlier in our preview episode, there has been guys that have had to sit out around. Clayton Sellers had to sit out, I believe, the second round. Is that right, James?
Concussion protocol. He didn't pass it.
Yep. So that's something that you just can't predict in rank ride. And I'm sure he's not going to be the only guy that's probably going to have to miss a round. That's just the way these world finals work. When you have 8 rounds of competition, guys are going to get banged up for sure. But I think that'll about wrap it up for today. Sorry, guys, we don't have a ton of time. We're going to get crazy busy tomorrow, getting it all ready to buck bulls again on Thursday. Paul McCartney's rocking the Dickies tonight. So I had a free time to get on here and get something recorded. So we apologize it's so short, but it's what we had to do with the time that I have. So, James, do you have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we finally had a chance to sit down and visit for a few minutes because we've both been running around like chickens with our heads cut off, me going to the doctors and your schedule there in Fort Worth. And I wanted to mention that Leonardo Lima won the ABBI Derby that was put on by No Credit Productions. It's all been a blast, but I'm so glad to be back on here and feeling good, and sorry to take as long as I have. Mainly, if you don't learn anything from me, learn this, that every day is a gift from God, and what you do with it, quite simply and honestly, that's your gift back to him. God bless, Coop. The floor is yours, bud.
Thanks, James. Back at you. It's always good to know that you're feeling better and feeling good. That's an important part of life, no doubt about it. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting last 4 days down here in Fort Worth to crown the 2022 PBR World Champion. There's a lot of opportunity left on both the bull and rider end, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. You can find us at From the Back Pens on Instagram, From the Back Pens on Facebook, at From the Back Pens on TikTok, and From the Back Pens on YouTube. And also my email is Cooper, COOPER, from the backpens at gmail.com. You can find Rank Ride Fantasy at www.rankridefantasy.com, at Rank Ride Fantasy on Instagram, at Rank Ride on Facebook and TikTok, and Rank Ride TV on YouTube. Sorry for the delays and the shortened episode, but like we mentioned earlier, it's tough down here with my time. It's pretty limited. So we're doing what we can. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the World Finals. And until next time, you guys have a good one and come back and visit us again from the back pens.